Welcome back, guys. If you're new here, my name is Holly from Within, and today I'm going to be talking about a 504 and what all that entails. Okay, guys, so I'm going to give a brief description on what a 504 plan is, and that is a plan developed to ensure that a child who has a disability identified under the law and is attending an elementary or a secondary educational institution receives accommodations that will ensure their academic success and access to the learning environment. Now, my daughter's psychiatrist did give us a piece of paper that stated that she did qualify under the law for a 504. So I want to take you on the computer and show you what the law says, as well as what all that entails, so you can see if this is something that your child would benefit from or not. So let's take a look.
Okay guys, so I'm going to talk about the 504 today, and I found this site called U.S. Department of Education. And so I'm just going to try to go through this stuff. It's a lot of information all at once, so I'm going to try to just touch on little things to help get you started. So these are frequently asked questions about Section 504 and the education of children with disabilities. So, let's see. They have an introduction just talking about Section 504 is a federal law designed to protect the rights of individuals with disabilities and programs and activities that receive federal financial assistance from the U.S. Department of Education. So, scroll down, and it just has what is the jurisdiction of the Office for Civil Rights, and you can read that more. Let's see here. So I know most questions people probably have is maybe what is a 504. So I'm gonna just kind of skip through some of this, and if you'd like to, you guys can come back and read it. I don't want this video to be horribly long. Let's see. So it says, who has the ultimate authority to enforce Section 504? In the educational context, OCR has been given administrative authority to enforce Section 504. Section 504 is a federal statute that may be enforced through the department administrative process or through the federal court system. In addition, a person may at any time file a private lawsuit against a school district. The Section 504 regulations do not contain a requirement that a person file a complaint with OCR and exhaust his or her administrative remedies before filing a private lawsuit. Okay, so a Section 504 qualifies students with disabilities who attend schools receiving federal financial assistance. To be protected under the Section 504, a student must be determined to 1. Have a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or major life activities, or number 2, have a record of such impairment, or number 3, be regarded as having such impairment. Section 504 requires that school districts provide a free, appropriate public education, or FAPE, to qualified students in their jurisdiction who have a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or major life activities. Okay, so some of these physical or mental impairment that substantially limits a major life activity would be anywhere from a physical or mental impairment or any psychological disorder or condition, cosmetic disfigurement, or anatomical loss affecting one or more of the following body systems: neurological, special sense organs, respiratory, including speech organs, just a variety of different things, emotional or mental illness, and specific learning disabilities. The regularity provision does not set forth an exhaustion list of specific diseases and conditions that may constitute physical or mental impairments because of the difficulty of ensuring the comprehensiveness of such a list. Okay, let me see here. So I'm going to keep scrolling. All right, this number 12 says, does the meaning of the phrase qualified student with a disability differ on the basis of a student's educational level, i.e. elementary or secondary versus post-secondary? Yes, at the elementary and secondary educational level, a qualified student with a disability is a student with a disability who is of an age at which students without disabilities are provided elementary and secondary educational services, of an age at which it is mandatory under state law to provide elementary and secondary educational services to students with disabilities, or a student to whom a state is required to provide a free, appropriate public education under the Individuals with Disability Education Act, or IDEA. At the post-secondary educational level, a qualified student with a disability is a student with a disability who meets the academic and technical standards request for admission or participant in the institution educational program or activity. Alright, so I'm going to keep scrolling and alright, I'm going to talk about evaluation. So what is an appropriate evaluation under Section 504? Now, the Section 504 regulatory provision of 34 CFR requires school districts to individually evaluate a student before classifying the student as having a disability or providing the student with special education. Tests used for this purpose must be selected and administered so as best to ensure that the test results accurately reflect the student's aptitude or achievement or other factor being measured rather than reflect the student's disability, except where those are the factors being measured. Section 504 also requires that tests and other evaluation materials include those tailored to evaluate the specific areas of educational need, not merely those designed to provide a single intelligence quotient. The tests and other evaluation materials must be validated for the specific purpose for which they are used and appropriately administered by trained professionals. Okay. This one talks about how much is enough information to document that a student has a disability. And then I'm trying to find I'm just gonna keep scrolling and I'm looking for pretty much what qualifies your child per se. Well, I guess I already kind of went over that, but okay, so I'm going to go over 29. It says, is the Section 504 reevaluation similar to an IDEA reevaluation, and how often should it be done? Yes, Section 504 specifies that reevaluation in accordance with the IDEA is one means of compliance with Section 504. The Section 504 regulations require that reevaluations be conducted periodically. Section 504 also requires a school district to conduct a reevaluation prior to a significant change or placement. OCR considers an exclusion from the educational program of more than 10 school days a significant change of placement. OCR would also consider transferring a student from one type of program to another, or terminating or significantly reducing a related service, a significant change in placement. Okay. They also talk about a student has a disability reference in the IDA but does not require special education services. Is such a student eligible for services under Section 504? This student may be eligible for services under Section 504. The school district must determine whether the student has an impairment which substantially limits his or her ability to learn or other major life activity, and if so, make an individualized determination of the child's educational needs to regular or special education or related aids or services. For example, such a student may receive adjustments in the regular classroom. Okay. Now, keep scrolling down to placement. Once a student is identified as being eligible for regular or special education and related aids or services, a decision must be made regarding the type of service the student needs. Okay. All right, so number 41, excuse me, it says, what is the difference between a regular education intervention plan and a Section 504 plan? Okay, so a regular education intervention plan is appropriate for a student who does not have a disability or not suspected of having a disability but may be facing challenges in school. School districts vary in how they address performance problems of regular education students. Some districts employ teams at individual schools, commonly referred to as building teams. These teams are designed to provide regular education classroom teachers with instructional support and strategies for helping students in need of assistance. These teams are typically composed of regular and special education teachers who provide ideas to classroom teachers on methods for helping students experiencing academic or behavioral problems. The team usually records its ideas in a written regular education intervention plan. The team meets with an affected student's classroom teachers and or recommends strategies to address the student's problems with the regular education environment. The team then follows the responsible teachers to determine whether the student performs or behavior has improved. In addition to building teams, districts may utilize other regular education interventions methods including before school and after school programs, tutoring programs, and mentoring programs. Okay. I'm just going to keep scrolling down. Has a lot of information on here, and I'm just not going to read all of this because it's going to make this video extremely long, but you guys can come back and read over this and see if this is something that you think would help your child in the school district. I'm just going to slowly scroll back up so you can kind of see what all they have to say, and find the website here for you. Also, I do want to recommend that when you do apply for a 504 plan, that if your child does well with chewing gum during class, and I know public schools don't allow that, you can add that on there. I did that for my child, and she came with a ton of gum to school. Keep them stocked up. And then sometimes if she did forget gum, I told her to ask the teacher for some, and the teacher did have some sometimes. Okay. I'm just gonna keep scrolling back up. It is a lot of information all at once, and like I said, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it would make this video extremely long and boring, and I'm sure nobody wants to listen to me ramble. Okay. But also, if your child is already seeing a psychiatrist, sometimes they can go ahead and, diagnose them on their own in order to get them started in this process. So the website from what I got this from was www.2.ed.gov. And this is under the U.S. Department of Education, protecting students with disabilities for the 504. And I hope this was educational for you guys and helpful in some small way. And like I said, just, make sure you keep all of this in a file folder so that you have all this backup for yourself.
Okay guys, so I'll leave the link in the description box down below so that you can check it out. And as always, have a wonderful day.